evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Daytona International Speedway for the second round on the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series Race of Champions campaign. And we get set to get off tonight's Friday night doubleheader right here on LSRTV. 40 laps, as always, at the World Center of Racing, and we thought it was going to be an interesting evening with some of the plan changes on the sim, but for now, iRock will remain as normal, and we're happy to have you with us for our continuing coverage of the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series. Evan Pasoko, Austin Coop with you topside, along with Cisco Scaramuza down in the production trailer, Austin. These races always fun because these cars are about as big as a city block, so they take up a lot of room out there on the track. The draft is always fun, and they're racing for points at a four-race championship. Normally, the trucks kick off our Friday night doubleheader. They have the evening off. It's time to see the best of the best. Get a little bit of a prelim for us before we head into our WWE night later on in the evening with the big guys as they take on for a much more intensive a competition, but we're excited for this one.
Well, I'd have to argue about the intensity, but definitely going to be a good show tonight, you know, with the 2007 version. I believe that's what we have today. You know, it's going to be, or not today, but we're definitely going to have some really tough racing, especially, you know, everyone's going to be always trying for that top spot. Everyone's going to be grabbing every spot they can every single second, and it's going to be, you know, a knockout, drag out to the finish, kind of like tonight.
Either sunrise or sunset, but you can definitely see that orange glow over Daytona International Speedway, and that is the number one thing that we're going to be looking at tonight. Is this is not just Daytona International Speedway, it is Daytona circa 07, well before the repave, and this is a track that we saw even in the main ISS calendar last season, and we have seen it before on the IROC season as well. It's bumpy out there in the corners. You talk about cars moving around. These guys are some of the best of the best. They catch a lot of flack sometimes, but you'll watch them out there 3-4 watt at times. Probably not going to be the best idea, I would say, doing that here this evening. It's almost like you're doing Supercross in the middle of the corner, going through the whoops, and you could even lose a car on a straightaway. There are plenty of bumps, plenty of ruts, and you're going to be doing it at about 195 miles an hour. It's tough to pick names that maybe we should focus in on and circle because, well, it is iRock. It is the Race of Champions. These are old drivers that have proven themselves on the super speedways in the past. Right now, though, let's tell you where they sit in the warm-up session. Qualifying has already been determined as of a couple of days ago through the draw. But Ryan Keist right now looking fast in our 30-minute warm-up session. A lot of guys out there testing out the 1 or 2 car tangos at the moment, but we would expect a lot of pack racing as well. A good mixture, as we said, for 40 laps.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like you said, with this rough package and this rough surface with the old car as well, not to mention going more than 2 wide is going to be a huge stretch for these guys. Definitely going 3 wide, especially into turn 3. That's going to be the spot where if you're going 3 wide, you better make sure you can get to 4 and not have an issue sliding up the track or even spinning out. You know, we saw that this year with the Daytona 500 where people were sliding their right rear out of turn 4. You know, if you're going to try and make that pass, you have to do it sometime between the early stages or the middle stages. If you try that too late, it may be the wrong time to try that for sure.
We're about to get set to get underway. Just a couple of seconds left in tonight's warm-up session, and then we'll take a look trackside at your ISS starting grid. Weather for this evening's opener is going to be constant, partly cloudy, 78 degrees Fahrenheit. It is basically iRacing standard, so nothing crazy going on there. But again, the number one most important thing tonight is obviously the track. And these guys, we mentioned that they're in this iSuperSpeedway Race of Champions, which, by the way, along with the Truck Series, is a great way as well to get these Friday nights kicked off and enter in a little bit of extra coverage as well. But these guys cannot drive this Daytona 07 circuit like they can drive the big tracks that we'll see later on Friday night. So with that, the qualifying is now in the books and warm-up as well behind us. Let's take a look trackside as I welcome Cisco Scaramuza onto the mic for a moment at tonight's iRock 2 starting grid. It is going to be none other than Rod Flag, who will bring us to the green flag tonight. And again, your drivers going to be numbered up in accordance where they're going to be starting on the starting grid. Our number 4 qualifier not on the grid here this evening. It'll shuffle up the running order just a little bit, but it's going to be Jason Oatman's in the number 2 machine outside of the front row. Ray Rittenauer will start tonight in 3rd, P4 outside row 2, Chris Bassini, and then it'll be Rodney Wofford-Cisco who rounds out your top 5.
Yeah, starting 6 is going to be that number 7. That's not Rodney Wofford. That's Josh Ball in that 7 car. Starting 7th is going to be the 8 of Seth the Merchant. Yeah, this is already starting to get confusing. Starting 8th is going to be the number 9 of Christian Peterson. Starting 9th is going to be the number 10 of Matt Quick. Starting 10th is going to be the number 11 of Brandon Chaburko.
And I tell you what, it's not getting any easier from there. You're going to have the 12 of Frank Basilia starting 11th, the 13 of Corey Henry starting 12th, and the 17 of Ryan Keith starting in 13th position. For the most part, you see all of these IROC grids filled up, and so the number on the side of the door matches the number on the side of the car. But as I mentioned, qualifying did not take place on track tonight, predetermined based on previous results. So if a driver such as your number 4 qualifier not being here, it shuffles up the running order. Piscini would then go from P5 to P4. That's where you get that first number discrepancy. Even though it is off a little bit tonight, Cisco, it's always fun to watch through the race, watch those numbers and kind of find out who started back in the pack, and you can tell by the number on the side of the car how they're doing halfway through, 3/4 of the way through this race. But I think that track position could be a very important thing tonight at Daytona. The good news for these guys at this 07 Daytona International Speedway is about 13 cars is not all that much, and that's about as much as you can ask for on a track where you're moving around this much. Probably not going to be really tight on each other at the beginning. At least I don't think they'd want to be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, just for experience, Evan, you, myself, and also Andy Kessler, we took some circa 13 trucks here a couple of about a month ago, and it was absolutely insane out here, just the amount of bouncing around. And I guess that's sort of similar, it would be probably a similar valence to what the trucks have as to what these cars have, with it being the circa 13 and the COT. But it's going to be interesting out here tonight.
We're about set to get underway. It is part 1 of our iSuperSpeedway doubleheader, and we're happy to have you with us at LSRTV and I'm Racing Live. His car down and away. Green flag from Daytona. It is Rod Flag, the man himself. The number 1 Chevrolet gets his Impala across the line first, and on the inside, we're rocking and rolling for tonight's IROC Race 2 coverage in the 4th season of iSuperSpeedway Race of Champions competition. After tonight, it'll mark the halfway point in the championship already. And you see 2 wide still on through turns 1 and 2. Now down the Daytona Super Stretch at quarter number 2. The outside, using the top lane with 30+ degrees of banking to their advantage, gets the momentum, and once we hit 197, new race leader already, the number 2 Chevy. That's Jason Oatman's out in front.
Yeah, and he's doing a great job on that bottom side, able to keep the car down there. That's going to be the key tonight if these guys can hold that lane, because you're going to be bouncing around so much. But as we've seen a lot here at Daytona 07, that high line, it's starting to come in, and sure enough, that number 5 is jumping to the lead there. That's the 5 of Chris Bassini. Him and Josh Ball are now going to drop to the bottom side, so they're going to try and use that bottom lane, maybe use the draft a little bit to propel. Now that 9 car, that's Christian Peterson. He's up on the high side. He's going to try and take that 11 with him. That's Brandon Chaburko.
And now the 7 going to go 3 wide to the bottom. 2 changes for the race lead so far tonight. Both the curve top side. Looking to squeeze in 3 abreast, and on the inside, Josh Ball, he'll make the first pass for the race lead. On the bottom, the 11 car top side, that's Chaburko out of shape. He gets sideways. DeMerchant clips him to the left rear quarter panel. They all hang on, and still 3 wide just a little bit as the number 11 Bashida Chaburko slides back, now back to 2 abreast with Rodney Wofford behind in P8. And that's the close quarters racing that they didn't necessarily plan on getting. Just 3 laps in at a 40 tonight as we head now back down the back straightaway. 2 wide, 3 rows deep, P1 through 6. The action is not absent early, and now you see the number 9 of Christian Peterson on the outside of the racetrack. So far, that is the place to be if you want to make a pass. You got a half a car length to the good on Ball into the corner, but behind him, the 8 moving forward, 3 wide again.
Yeah, it's getting wacky and crazy here, 3 wide. I mean, 3 wide usually doesn't work here at Daytona 07, but you got to trust these ISSR guys. They do this enough. They're able to do it, and looks like it's going to finally get settled out. Now, check out that 13 car. That's Corey Henry. You can tell by the number, he's already up to about, I guess you would say, second up top, maybe 5th or 6th here, but he's doing a great job right now as he's come all the way from, like, the back of the field, and he's come up here into this top 5.
Number 13, the machine started tonight, P12, and he was scored a 5th the last time by. Right now, though, second line on the outside of the racetrack, inside with an advantage. He's running 4th and into the outside wall. Rodney Wofford, he gets real tight coming off of turn 4. That's something that we mentioned just before the drop of the green flag tonight, is making sure when you go into turn 3, that car can stay on the bottom all the way up through 3 and 4. If you don't get a good run in and that car starts pushing up the hill, you're not going to find any extra grip center off, and at that point you're hanging on. He brushes the wall. Good news is not a lot of damage. The bad news is, well, you've lost the pack. And 3 wide again, Corey Henry with the assist to Jason Oatmans. 3 wide, 2 cars, gonna split them all up the middle. 13 to P1, he'll bring Oatmans to P2, and now Chaburko goes to the middle again, making it 3 wide. No love for Seth the Merchant, who will go from the race lead now to P6.
Yeah, he's going to slide back a little bit. Luckily, that 5 looks like that they're going to go 2 wide here, so they're going to lose touch with that front pack a little bit. Now Corey Henry's going to drop to the bottom side. It looks like these guys are wanting to try and make that bottom side work, or maybe Corey Henry's trying to go back and find someone to work with, but right now, these cars, look at how they're bouncing up and down. Looks like they're boats out there with the amount, like they're just riding waves. Look at the front. No, it looks like Chaburko gonna go dive to the bottom side in a huge move by that 11 car. And yeah, that's not really surprising because we are talking about Brandon Chaburko.
Yeah, he's gone up the middle a lot tonight. He'll shake it up a little bit this time, go to the inside, and I'll tell you what, trying to catch him off guard. He made a very aggressive move to the inside of the racetrack. He'll line up behind the number 2, Jason Oatmans. Oatmans scored in front by just 5/1000ths of a second that time by the start finish on it. I had mentioned in the warm-up, a lot of guys work it in sets of 2, work it in sets of 3, but in the race, we would more so see a pack atmosphere with a breakaway or 2 or 3 cars at a time. If you can get with somebody, get a run, and you're both on the same page, and that is just go where the momentum takes you. You can get the job done, but for the most part, you're going to have to be somewhat diplomatic in the pack tonight, and the 7 and the 8 want to come down. No room for Seth the Merchant, and the 2 on the inside. Close call with Oatmans on the left rear. They'll slide back 2 wide, and somehow Josh Ball ends up well in front of that number 7. Take a crack at the race lead this time by. All of this with 9 drivers still in the lead pack. Matt Quick, Ray Rittenauer, Rodney Wofford, 9, 11, and 12. Or rather, 10th, 11th, and 12th have followed back just a little bit, but have not entirely lost touch with this lead draft. Almost already, Austin, at quarter distance.
Yeah, looking at the 7 and the 2 car, if they play their cards right, yeah, and right there you see them go up to block that top line. If they continue to do that, it looks like they didn't do a good job of blocking that 8 car, but if they continue to do stuff like that, they could fend off the rest of the field potentially and get a really good shot at getting a 1-2 finish, or maybe the 2 car snagging that win. But there's not really a primary line at the moment. That's the thing. You know, this on the outside is doing such a great job off of 4 because the bottom line's having to lift a little bit. As you see Josh Ball coming up to block the top lane as they come up, this is just really what it's all about. I mean, that number 7 car really has to be the field manager. He has to be the general here, and as they go back down the back straightaway, if he gets enough of a good run, he's got to come down and block that 2 car.
And that 2 machine taking a look to the inside, a little bit of 3 wide maybe behind them as Chaburko plans the mutiny and tried to look to the inside. It did not happen quite that time through. And again, you see that, Sam, but a single file in front of 2 wide between the 2 on the inside. Altman's top side that are ready to set the Merchant. The outside, again, has been the place to be. More problems in turn number 4, though the number 3, this time Ray Rittenauer gets a piece of the fence, running 12th on track. And I had mentioned that the 3 cars outside the top 9 that weren't really in it, but weren't really out of it. Well, now Rittenauer, heavy damage on the right side, cost him a lot of time, too, with the contact. So now he'll really eventually begin to fall out of this lead draft and hope that he can get that car repaired at some point later on in the event. Josh Ball doing what you would expect somebody to do at a plate track, and that is ride the double yellow line on the inside of the racetrack and just try to maintain. Outside, though, has been moving. The 2 out of 13, hard into the fence goes Corey Henry. We saw Chaburko make an aggressive move to the bottom. I can get with that, but the 13, hard move to the outside out of the corner, Austin. That car just would not rotate. Basically drove himself straight into the fence.
Yeah, and that's just the nature of this track, and also not being patient enough. With these cars and these tires being about 11, 12 laps in, they can't do what they used to be able to do. And when you're in the pack, you have to be conscious of the fact that you can't go down on the track. And so if you're in the gas the whole time, your car's going to slowly go up. And if you're following someone who's doing the same thing, or you're being pushed, which that's what it looked like, then you really don't have an option if you're the lead car. But if it's a behind car, you got to know that you're going to push yourself and the guy in front of you. You're going to make both of you guys pay.
11 laps down, 29 to go that time by, and while things begin to fan out a little bit at the front of the field, it doesn't mean these guys are in any sort of a mindset to just ride. You think, okay, top 4 breakaway, let's knock some laps off. That's not happening. Altman's took a look to the inside that time, nothing from it this time, but a turn 2, he'll go to the outside, and the good news is he's got some support. You do have Brandon Chaburko working the outside of the racetrack in line behind him, but now it's a lot more difficult for the drivers on the outside to build up a lot of speed. When we ran a big pack, you'd see 3, 4, 5 cars get together. The front 2 would really get a whale of a run, and they'd be able to do a lot with it. But you don't have momentum on your side, it's hard to build some, and everybody looking for some sort of a way to leave Josh Ball out to dry. The Donna Peterson faked low and high, and Altman's now slots into the number 2 position, kicking the 9 machine back to 3rd, and back in the conversation. Here comes the 12 of Basilia, and he's bringing friends with him. Going to be once again back in an 8-car lead draft down the back.
And you know, the thing I'm looking at, the 2 and the 9 car, they got same paint scheme. They're obviously teammates, and I just saw a teammate block a teammate. That was a really cool thing to see. Yeah, they're still 2-3, but you know, he did not give his teammate any room, and it looks like he's going to be that guy to be hung out to dry on the outside. It's that 12 car of Frank Bukai. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, Basilia, probably. He's going to be the benefactor of all that, as he was not that far. He's about 7th place not too long ago. Looks like got a little contact here, but he was not that far back, but he's definitely made up some ground. But as you see, that outside line looks like even by itself is doing it. So, wow! What a move to the outside, a little bit of a fake. But now he's got the outside all by... Oh, that's a contact!
Oh, there they go. They're going to come back up the track. Chaburko's going to get turned. Caution flag will fly, and I did say that they would probably have to be diplomatic in the pack. Well, it was only a suggestion, and it's a little bit too late to adhere by those words because contact down the back straight away. We'll take a look at the yellow. All of that really did go back to that block that we saw coming off the turn 2, and they just never really settled down. It looked like the 12 machine, I'm not sure if Basilia was trying to get to the outside of the racetrack to get in line and thought he was clear, or he just wasn't happy with the 8, but he did catch him in the left rear, and then what happened was, might have been okay, but that 2 machine of Altman's got clipped. He came back up, took Chaburko out, he spun down and back up into the fence. All things considered, not that big of an accident. Going to be about 3-4 drivers to get some damage, but they all locked him up rather quickly and should be able to get a majority of those damages repaired. But a caution flag just past quarter distance. Going to slow us down with, how about that, Christian Peterson going to the race lead, and this gives the opportunity for the drivers that I had mentioned that had fallen off for the lead pack and had fallen back a little bit, gives them an opportunity to get back into the pack. But problems hearing for Josh Ball, the number 7 Chevrolet, under the caution flag with damage, I might add, on the right side of that car from contact with the outside wall. I'm not sure if he decided to downshift in the middle of the corner, but he went back up the hill, came down somehow. I don't think he got hit, but that was interesting.
Yeah, and right now he's going to have to make it to pit road. Oh, he's not going to make it to pit road, and I'm definitely sure he's disped. So there's no chance he's going to get his spot back now.
I was going to say that it was starting to look like a mix of a Rockingham and a Darlington out there on steroids, because you had these guys getting tossed every which way. You see the 8 machine overshoots the pit stall a little bit there as we come in for some service at the aspect of Darlington, because a lot of these guys were starting to accumulate some right side damage from getting up and into the fence. But again, it didn't look like it was really deterring anybody. For tires and fuel looks to be the name of the game. Drag race off at a pit lane. Peterson, I think, is going to be able to hang on to it over your number 1 pit box holder. Rod Flag started from the pole. It'll be able to pick the number 1 machine up a spot on the pit lane. Not enough, though, to take the race lead back from Christian Peterson. The number 9 Chevrolet looks like he'll stay up front.
Yeah, as you were talking about the cars having damage after that caution, the only real car that had significant damage was that 12 car, and he was almost out of the thick of it until the very end where that 11 car came down. So really the only car that sustained major damage it was that 12 car. But like you were saying, all these cars have at least a tiny bit of damage, whether it's left rear quarter panel, right rear quarter panel, right front fender, you name it. It's just a little bit of damage. So you got to think about Christian Peterson. I don't see hardly that much damage on his car, so he's sitting in a really good spot right now. There's only a few cars in this field now of 12 that don't have a whole lot of damage, and those are the cars you want to either get with, or you want to know where they are at least, so you can get to the front with them.
Well, we always know when you come to a plate track that the aerodynamics obviously going to be a huge concern. Tonight it might just be find the guys, as you mentioned, who don't have the damage, as opposed to avoiding the 1 or 2 cars that actually do have damage, because it is just in the nature of this track. This restart going to bring us back to the green flag, just a little bit shy of the halfway point. Going to be right with about, I'd say, 22 laps to go by the time we get this thing back and away. The lights are still on top of the American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT that leads us now down through turns 1 and 2 at our pace speed of about 80 miles per hour. It is Peterson, Flag, Piscini, 1, 2, and 3 on track at the moment, joined by Rodney Watford at the Merchant inside of the top 5. So under this first caution of the evening, we'll step away, take a quick yellow flag of our own, and bring you back to Daytona Beach for the restart. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the iSuperSpeedway Race of Champions, and more action still to come on iRacing Live. We're back live at the virtual Daytona International Speedway for the iSuperSpeedway Race of Champions. It's IROC 4, race number 2 at around Daytona 07. That's a vile combination, and we're happy to have you with us, as always, right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing, working under our first caution flag of the evening. It'll be Christian Peterson that'll lead us back to the green flag. The number 9 Chevrolet started on the outside of row 4 at the beginning of this one. It'll bring us back to with what looks like 4 cars towards the back of the pack, working with some damage. Basilia, Chaburko, Ryan Keese now out of this race. Right now, our number 3 machine looking pretty all right, but you got about 9 or 10 competitive cars still out there on the racetrack. And again, they always say cautions like to breed cautions. Let's see what this second stint on the evening will bring us. And again, if you're liking our current coverage, make sure to tune in at 10 o'clock Eastern for part 2 of our ISS doubleheader right here on LSRTV for some more exciting super speedway action all through the months of March, April, May, and so forth. So the base car, going to get down, get out of the way. Let's see what Peterson brings to the table. Everybody on the bottom, just 3 cars topside. Green flag flies back and away we go from Daytona Beach. And it's Peterson on the inside, no problem. Opening up the car length advantage down to turn number 1. I'm curious to see, though, how Rod Flag, Rodney Wofford, and Jason Oatmans will navigate the outside lane. Just 3 of them. They're looking for more support from behind some of the lap cars.
Well, we definitely got some wiggle room on the bottom, so that top lane is going to be, they're way more stacked up in the bottom line. So I see that top line going to come in turn 2, and maybe even before we get there, or turn 3, I'm sorry. But yeah, they already got the advantage here because the bottom line couldn't stick together. That top line, especially that number 6 car at the very start of that restart, definitely gave him a good push. So when we get down to turn 4, it looks like that number 1 car is going to have the advantage, and they're going to have the momentum coming to the start-finish line.
And this time by the outside lane, yes sir, back to the point goes Rod Flag, and he's got plenty of company in behind him. Not quite clear yet to the bottom side. Now he does get in front of the number 9, but doesn't elect to immediately swing down at this Daytona 07. Sometimes the outside the better way to be, especially when the tires begin to fall off, because you'll see the inside really start to slide up off the quarters. And as we've seen tonight, a lot of that can happen down in turns 3 and 4. The number 2 machine of Jason Oatmans, one of the drivers working with some pretty good damage on both the right and left side of the car. He doesn't want to sit around, he wants to go, so he'll jump out of line. Was 3rd in line, top side, swings to the inside in front of the number 9. He awaits a push and he awaits a run, but so far the top side 1, 2, and 3 into the inside. What a move by Rodney Wofford. He'll take the race lead now down the turn number 1. Everybody wants a piece of the pie at the front of the field.
Yeah, and there's no patience by some of these drivers, and that's a good thing for some of them, especially for Rodney. He decided, you know what, I'm done being the pusher. I want to be pushed. He's going to get pushed here by the number 2 of Jay Riot, and it's not going to be as good of a push as he thinks, or at least I thought it was going to be, but they're really stacking up 2 by 2, this 6-car breakaway, and I was looking at these cars, and these cars do have a little bit of damage, but they are breaking away really far away from the other guys behind them. It's about 6, 7, 8 tenths behind between them and the next 2 drivers, and they're tandem together, but this 6-car pack is really breaking away. As you know, something I'm really looking at right now is Rod Flag. He's going really high in that tri-oval, almost opening the door for those behind him. What do you think of that, Evan?
We know the outside a viable option, but so far I think based on what we've seen tonight through 21 laps now as we work lap number 22 back down the Daytona Superstretch, even if the inside's not open, somebody like a Brandon Chaburko is going to go to the inside anyways. I don't think this is a race where you could approach like we'll see later on tonight, get to the race lead, 10 laps left, and say, okay, I'm going to defend. That's not going to happen. If you lead 2 laps consecutively, I'll say you're pretty lucky. At this point, I think these guys really just having some fun up at the front of the field. Inside of the final 20 laps, again, a 40-lap short sprint to the checkered flag here tonight. Not a long race entirely. Normally, you'd say it's go time at this point. Right now, though, they just need to be relevant. They need to stay inside of the top 6. Josh Ball, the number 7. The number 8 is Seth the Merchant running, conveniently enough, P7 and P8. They cannot afford to lose touch with those top 6, and they're starting to slip away. You're not going to win the race now. You could lose it, though. Right now, you just want to stay up front. And I'll tell you what, Rod Flag, right now is a good opportunity. Leave that inside open. See if somebody can go to the inside, take it away from you, or see, hey, if you run the outside, is that a better defensive line? I think now these guys are just kind of stretching out the legs, and you mentioned they're being aggressive, which is good because I think it's allowing a lot of the guys running maybe 5th or 6th in line that in a normal restrictor plate race wouldn't be able to make a lot of moves. They're feeling these things out right now. They're going to know what they can do when it comes crunch time with 3 laps to go right now, though. I think they're just still feeling out these cars, feeling each other out, and seeing how far the other guy's willing to go to the hold on.
Yeah, I was watching that 13 car for a long while. I knew he was going to make a break for it, but sadly he doesn't have the support right now. He doesn't have anyone on the bottom. The 9's car is going to come and help him, even though it's on the bottom line. But I really think Rod it's definitely in a really good position as he actually comes down to pick up the 5 car. The 5 car is going to follow him and keep pushing him. But that 13 car, he really made the dive, and if he would have cleared him, I think that would have been a really great move. But I just don't think that was a great idea because he really didn't have that much support happening, and he's going to really fall back down to 4th.
These COT machines, they have the ability to suck up to the back of somebody else. They're much better at pushing than the Gen 6 cars over again on this track. You're not really seeing a lot of the 2-car tandem, but you do need support to make moves, and you see the outside of the racetrack moving, now cleared by 3 car lengths, is Rod Flag, Chris Bassini, and the number 6, Corey Henry. At Austin, I just mentioned that the 7 and the 8, Josh Ball, Seth the Merchant, they can't afford to lose touch. Well, they did good at a 2-car tandem, and they came in with a lot of speed, almost too much as we go 3 wide. Chaburko will now lose his 2nd lap. Close call, though. Josh Ball getting into the back of the 2 of Voltmans, but they're back in a conversation. 3 wide, here we go. Top 8 cars within 3/10 to turn 1, and in the outside wall goes Wofford.
Oh man, he had a bunch of speed coming through that turn, but yeah, as we were talking about tires, it just seemed like it didn't work there, and now the top line's left out to dry for a little bit as the number 5 car of Chris Bassini now takes the lead. That was a gutsy move, and it really you take some guts, and sometimes no guts, no glory sometimes. And well, whoa, we got the number 9 car in the wall, and we got another battle for the lead of the 13 once again. I told you he's going to try it again. He's right back there.
The good news for him is he's far away from the wall, down on the inside. Seems like everybody else topside has met that fence at least once or twice. And I do have to say, Corey Henry, the machine looks fairly clean off of the left side of the car. Interestingly enough, and you talk about a push, look at the 7, Josh Ball, the aggressor at a turn 2. A big shot to the 13 of Henry. He'll push him all the way up to the back bumper of race leader Chris Bassini. Inside was open, middle was an option, but in fact, the 13 of Corey Henry elects to stay. I mentioned right now, not the time to win the race, but maybe that 13 machine likes riding second in line on the inside because he knows that he's going to need some sort of support to get the job done late. They got tight that time by. 13 laps to go as we talk about the 13 of Corey Henry. It looks like he's trying to stay behind Cassini for the time being. Everybody out there's got a shot to win it. They can't do it on their own, and you have to find somebody that's willing to work with you to a certain extent, and I like the 9 and the 8 right now. Peterson, the Merchant, working the outside of the racetrack. No surprise seeing those 2 names together on the outside.
And that 8 car, you remember where he was about 4 or 5 laps ago? He's about almost an entire second behind, so he's really made his way up there, and pushing that 9 car, they're gonna make it 1-2 at the start finish line. And I could only hope that they could get to the they could only hope to get past this inside line. It looks like they're clear, but they're still not coming down. I would be wanting to come down, but maybe they got something better up their sleeves than I thinking. But I mean, watching that number 1 car, he's getting a good side draft off that number 5 car. Oh wow! Holy cow! What a move! And he's going to be on the inside of that 8 car, breaking up that 2-car tandem, and that might just be one of the moves of the race as he's going for the lead.
Rod Flag started from the front, no surprise. He wants to finish out there. He split the gap, but again, he just can't hold the inside by himself. And we've seen this before in IROC competition. We've also seen it when the ISS guys took on Daytona circa 07. The outside is almost the preferred line. Sure, the inside is a shorter way around the racetrack, but because the cars move around so much, and you see that 7 of Josh Ball, he doesn't want to be up there next to the 8. He's trying to get down to the yellow line, but the car slides so much off the corner. Again, it's almost like you're going through a whoop section in the center, and the car doesn't turn good. And the front tires aren't on the ground, so you start to skid up the hill. It's so hard to get that inside lane to work. and that's why I think you're seeing the 9 and the 8 work the outside, and maybe the 1 machine catching on to that because Rod Flag could hop in tow and lead the 7 and Josh Ball to the bottom. But it'll be Christian Peterson. He led us back to the green flag at 22 to go. 10 laps to go from Daytona that time by, and now everybody but Josh Ball going high.
Wow, I'm really amazed by what's going on. We almost got a 3 wide in turn 2. Ooh, that's close. But yeah, we're really getting to a single file line except for Josh Ball. He's getting a little gutsy. Ooh, we got the 13 car off pace there. But yeah, we definitely have. This looks like a single file line, and I really don't think that anyone's going to try and make the move down to the bottom. Well, there goes the 2 as I say that. But the bottom, as you see the 7 car last lap, is just not able to stick anymore. The top line, definitely the preferred line, like you said, Evan. But, you know, that bottom line, if you try and go for it, you need to have a lot of help. And I think that's the only way you're going to dethrone Christian Peterson in that number 9 Chevrolet. If you're going to try and overthrow him, you got to try something. Either you got to push him out of the way, which that could work if you're the number 8 of Seth's Merchant, being able to give him a big push into 3 and then go to the bottom. Contact 2-7 and maybe the 6 car as well.
So the outside is not any safer. They all followed Altman's and that. I mean, that was a hard lick by the 2 machine. That car looks like it should be on the back of a flatbed, and that's bad news for Josh Ball behind. That is well the 3rd driver that ended up with a fence with him, the number 5 of Chris Basidi, because I'm not sure how well they're going to be able to keep up with these guys up front. If they stay single file, they may not lose touch, but those cars aren't looking that good for wear if they want to be in a spot to be able to make a move late in this race and attempt to take home an IROC checkered flag. It's Peterson, it's DeMerchant. They run 1, they run 2. Rod Flag, the first driver there that's trying to split that dynamic duo up, and well, he's just got to kind of sit around and wait. And his best hope, I think, at this point is wait for the 9 and the 8 to try to win the race on the last lap and try to hop in the middle of that and steal it from both of them. We've seen stranger things, but at least as well as it's working right now, I would not expect Peterson and DeMerchant to mix up the strategy now as they take 6 laps to go. I think that single file ride on the outside of the racetrack is working.
Oh, definitely, for sure. And they have control of the race. It's kind of like you were saying. You know, if that 1 car goes low, well, they really don't have to worry about it. They'll just push up top. You know, that second pack of 3 car, they are coming back a little bit now. But I think by the time it's crunch time, I think that the 9 and the 8 still have it in the back at this point. You know, you just when you have 2 guys up front who run well, like to run well, and you have one guy who is trying to dethrone it, there's nothing much you can do unless Seth tries something really drastic on the final lap. I don't really think Ron has a very good chance of taking either position away unless he gets some really good pushing by the guys behind him, and they are coming.
We got 10 drivers on the lead lap behind them, and out of this race, Frank Wasillia and Brandon Chiburko. Not a factor is Rodney Wofford, 17 seconds back in 10th. Ray Rittenauer is 10 seconds back at 9th as well. Corey Henry and Matt Quake. It is a 6-car race for the checkered flag, and that number may even dwindle down because the odd man out, Chris Bassini, last driver in line, and you factor the damage in as well on the number 5 Chevrolet. He is starting to lose touch with Josh Ball and Jason Oatmans, who refuse to let Rod Flag and company get away. But it is most definitely, I think, going to be determined between Peterson and DeMerchant. This time by, going to be 5 laps to go at Daytona. Means caution now through to the checkered flag would end this race at a slow to pace, no overtime. So they're in the perfect spot. Now, DeMerchant, I don't think he can really afford to make a move and risk getting into an incident. I think now he does have to do exactly what we've been predicting, and that is wait for the white flag. He might even have to wait till they come off of turn 4 for the final time before he makes a move, because I think that track position right now just too important. If you go too wide, I think you open up a can of worms, and you can have Oatmans, you can have Ball and company use that too wide, hop down to the inside to get the traffic in the conversation. Right now, for unpredictable as these races always are, especially at this kind of a track, they have such a stranglehold on the field now with 4 laps to go this time by, that I would not suggest breaking up until you come into that checkered flag there and the wind's right in front of you.
Even with that white flag, you know, even down the back stretch, I think they will still get those 3 cars behind them, that 3-car pack behind them. I think they'll get him advantage as we got the 1 car going under Seth the Merchant, and I think he's going to be able to get it. Oh, wow, what a change of,
There you
wow,
go.
look at that.
So throw our analysis out the window because Peterson and the Merchant, well, they just got split up. And now you have Rod Flag, an iSuperSpeedway champion in the middle, and almost a Merchant in the number 8 machine, too far back really to do anything at the moment. He'll get there. He's got plenty of time. 3.5 laps to go. This time by the start-finish line, across the start-finish line we go. And now just 3 laps to go at Daytona. The Merchant is still there. But now that 1 machine, Peterson has no idea what Flag's going to do. So now he's on edge.
Oh, yeah, and you just think if you're the Merchant, you know, what happened is he got too high up the track and had to lift out of the gas just to prevent himself from getting into the wall. This is the longest they made on the green flag tires, and you can definitely tell that I don't know if he was expecting the car to slip up that far, but I think Rod Flag was definitely waiting for that or something to happen. You know, he's just waiting for something to happen. He had no plan really except to keep running until the white flag, and then the 8 car's high, and he says, you know, I'm going to go low and then see what I can do, and he makes it stick, and now who knows what his plan might be. It could be this lap, it could be next lap, it could be in the final turn.
2 laps to go from Daytona International Speedway. Seth the Merchant is there. He's 2/10 of a second rather back. Altman's and Ball, they're not out of it yet. The 2 and the 7 in contact between them. That might take the 7 out of it. Yes, it does. Hard into the outside wall. Contact with Josh Ball. I was just going to say they had to get pedaling. He's in the fence. Now down the backstretch. Penultimate time to turn number 3. And it's flagged to the bottom. Peterson top side. And the number 1 Chevrolet powers through to the point.
Oh, wow, what a slide job off of 4. That was the perfect time to do it. And you know what? Who says that Christian Peterson's completely out of it, but he does have a teammate behind him, but this is going to be the last lap.
White flag will fly, and we head down to turn number 1. Now, though, if you're Rod Flag, did you make the move too early? Because the teammates are back together. Peterson and the Merchant, 2-3 behind you.
Oh, what do you do right now? Oh, man, he's getting past, but Christian did hit the outside wall. It's going to be a drag race at the back, I think. Number 1 car's going to have the inside line, the preferred line. I think in this scenario, we're going to see what happens. Oh, man.
Oh, he cleared him.
He cleared him, but somehow, oh, man. That was a drag race to the finish.
It looks like Peterson, the Merchant, they don't work together. The 9 top side got through. He shut the door all the way through. Checkered flag. IROC 4, race 2. Seth DeMerchant going to come up short. His teammate steals it at the end. Christian Peterson, your winner from Daytona Beach. And Rod Flag, we talked about when to make the move. He made that move just 1 lap too early.
And that was such a shame. I mean, I don't think there was really any other chance because he was really getting a big run at that point. And I think that was as good a chance as any for him. You know, to wait at the last lap, Christian probably would have blocked him at any junction at that point. I really don't know if I blame him for taking that move, but yeah, definitely just a little too early for that, I think. But still a good run for him.
It was an exciting run to the end. Altman's in the contact behind. The number 2 going to come home 4th with Piscini coming home across the start-finish line in the number 5 position. But Christian Peterson into the corner. Rod Flag was not about to give it up, but if the number 1 was maybe 3 inches further down to turn number 3, Peterson wouldn't have been able to shut the door. I mean, he might have still come down, and it might have given the win to Seth the Merchant if they both ended up at the fence. But Peterson successfully shut the door on Flag. He just didn't have enough time, really, to build up any more momentum. You see the number 9 celebrate, and just for a little bit of added measure, teammate Seth the Merchant going to join him after he crossed the start-finish line in 3rd. They look for a good result in part 2 of our doubleheader as the ISS guys take to the track in just a little bit shy of an hour right here on LSRTV. But it is Christian Peterson taking home the checkered flag in IROC Season 4, race number 2 at Daytona. And that means we're already halfway through the iSuperSpeedway Race of Champions season. We'll talk with your finisher and we'll get you prepped for an exciting night still to come with plenty more plate track action right here on LSRTV in a moment, because the Live Sim Racing TV post-race show from Daytona returns in just a few. You're watching ISS on LSRTV live on iRacing Live. Welcome back live to Daytona International Speedway, where LSRTV's coverage of the iSuperSpeedway Race of Champions continues. And I want to welcome you into the LSRTV post-race show for IROC 4, race number 2 in the books. Evan Pasoko, Austin Coop, top side with you in the LSRTV broadcast hour, and Cisco Scardamoose, the track side. We'll talk to your top finishers in a moment. Let's take a quick look at tonight's race results. Christian Peterson taking home the checkered flag with Rod Flag P2, and Ted the Merchant coming home in P3. We'll talk to all of them in just a moment. Solid finishes, 1.5 seconds back for Jason Altman's 4th, barely hanging on to that spot over your 5th place finisher, Chris Bassini.
And Matt Quick is going to come home in a very clean 6th place, about 11 seconds back with Ray Rittenhauer in 7th, Corey Henry in 8th, Rodney Wooford in 9th, and Josh Ball in 10th.
And in the drivers that finish off of the lead lap and mini laps behind out of the race will conclude with Brandon Chaburko, P11, P12, Frank Basilia, and a DNS for the 17 of Ryan Keys. And the IROC guys back in action tonight here at Daytona. Circa 2007 is always a track that is very unpredictable, and caught up trackside with your winner, Christian Peterson. Christian, you guys almost made that look like a regular night out the track. You, Seth, P1 and P2, and Rod started messing with you guys late there, split you up, and you were able to make the move to take home the checkered flag down the Daytona Superstretch. Walk us through that one, though. Started P8 on the grid, and you were able to get the win after one caution flag just shy of the halfway point. You led us back to the green flag at that point. Didn't hold on to it all the way. We know how often fluid the situation is up front, but it was an exciting race, and you and Seth did a good job. You get the P1, he gets the P3.
Yeah, that was a great race. I thought it was a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting it to get as tight as it did. I don't really think anybody was. So it made some mistakes happen throughout the race, and people got in the wall. Seth got in the wall. We were all 3 wide. I think Chubbs got the wall. It was a chaotic race, but I mean, it was pretty fun, hand in hand. I think Rod knew he was kind of a little bit in the sucker hole there with it when it was just us 3 out there, but he did a hell of a job making the move early. I wasn't expecting him to do it early. And then I backed up to Seth, got a little run off of 2 on the last lap, and just cleared him going into 3 barely by, I don't know, like maybe an inch, half a foot maybe. I don't know. It was close, but it was a good race.
I mentioned that if Rod was 3 inches further forward in turn 3, you wouldn't have been clear, and I wasn't necessarily guaranteeing that you still weren't going to try to shut the door, because that was the race right there. You did it, and you were able to hang on. We thought there were going to be some pretty crazy changes to these cars coming into this race. That patch has been delayed a little bit, so it wasn't all that new and all that of unfamiliar territory for you guys. Not the first time that you've been out here at the Circa 07 circuit. How do you guys feel like you performed based on the game plan? Because we know what kind of challenges this track brings. It's not your regular plate track race. There's a lot of movement. You talked about guys getting up into the fence. We expected that. We saw a lot of that. That number 9 Chevy, though, looks pretty clean. So I think it looks like you guys had quite the handle on it.
Yeah, for the most part, I was just trying to keep my nose clean, stay out of the wall. I didn't want to be up top 3 because I knew, the guys on the bottom were going to get tight, and, no matter what they did, and it might have put me in a bad situation. So I was trying to stay out of there. If we were in a big pack, I was staying towards the bottom in the middle. But I mean, the 07 brings great racing at these plate tracks, and I think it proves it. It might be a little more single file there and here and there, but you see a lot of big moves. Thought out moves, laps ahead, and instead of just going for what's there and what you can get at the time. I think you'll see a lot more of it in the next race coming up.
We know we're looking forward to tonight's second race, and obviously the main event with our special theme on the evening, Christian. But you got the night kicked off in the right direction, and you're a winner in the iSuperSpeedway Race of Champions at Daytona. You guys got about an hour till you guys got to get back on the grid, so you got some time to chill out, relax, and enjoy it before we let you go, though. I do want to give you the opportunity. Anybody want to give a call to?
Yeah, just Rod Flag. He does an awesome job of the league. I think he made all the paint schemes for tonight's race. That takes a little bit of time, so that's awesome. It makes all the cars look good, makes the broadcast look good. Got to thank P Money Designs. He wasn't on the car tonight, but he'll be on there later and for the rest of the season. And you guys in the booth, you do an awesome job. I love going back and watching it after it's all over.
Well, me and Cisco were reminiscing on the grid about how we tried this whole Daytona circa '07 thing once in a truck and it didn't work. So you guys look good on track, and it makes our job fun. Exciting race. Congratulations on the win, Christian. We'll see you later on tonight. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
That is Christian Peterson, your winner of the IROC 4 race number 2 here at Daytona. Gonna pass things down just to my right, down in the number 1 pit stall. One spot short, though, of walking away number 1, Austin Coop, trackside with Rod Flag.
Yeah, I'm here with Rod Flag, runner-up tonight. Rod, you thought you had it on the backstretch of 2 laps to go, and I really thought you had it too, but then the number 9 and the number 8 came up with a plan, and the number 9 backed up to the number 8, Assess the Merchant, and somehow barely squeezed you down in turn 3. How did that all turn out in turn 3 for you?
Not very good, obviously. Not the best way to finish being the bridesmaid, but yeah, I mean, we thought we made a really good move on 2 to go there on the backstretch and really got into 3 and had the momentum. But, when you have teammates behind you, it's tough, and I knew they were going to try to come together and get that one last push. I think if if Christian wouldn't have cleared me going into 3, I think we may have still had a shot and could have been side by side there. But as soon as he cleared me into turn 3, that was it. There didn't have enough time to get any momentum up.
Now, when you were with 5 laps to go, you were behind both of them. And at that point, we didn't think you really had a chance. What really happened there with about, I think, 4 laps to go between you and the 8 car?
Seth got tight, and I think he had to check up there coming out of 2, and so I knew that was I had the momentum, and so I had to take it there, and so we got into a really good position and got ourselves into second place, and so I think it's just I think Seth just messed up a little bit.
Well, pole position, sadly coming home second. Is there anything you want to say or any shout-outs you want to give out tonight?
Nope, just excited to go get in the iSuperSpeedway car. Got the throwback theme tonight with the WWF wrestlers, and I'm going to be driving a Hot Rod Roddy Piper scheme, so it should be fun to see all these special paint schemes tonight.
Well, I was really rooting for you for that last 2 laps, and I hope I can see you and root for you in the next one.
Thanks, Austin.
And I'll take it backside to Evan in the booth.
And we have on the radio here with Seth the Merchant, who comes home P3 and is the second part of the conversation that I had with Christian Peterson, because we were talking really for the final 10 laps about that one, Seth, on how it looked like you and Christian had your stranglehold on things, and it was looking like a good old regular ISS night. You guys up front, and the car got a little bit tight on you, which we come to expect to see at this Daytona '07 track, and it allowed the one car to get by, and at that point, it kind of separated you guys, and I assume so, kind of messed up your plans there for the end of the race. You come home in third.
Yeah, just used up too much right front tire. If that race was 4 laps shorter, we would have been okay. But I was just pushing it too hard, trying to get me and Christian out in front of everybody, trying to make it so they couldn't catch up, and just overdrove a little bit and smoked the right front tire once going into 1 and 2. And from that point on, it was just really bad, and I had to lift and tried the hardest I could there to get back up there. And thankfully, on the white flag, I got up to CP just enough to give him a shove, to give him momentum, to be able to get back by Rod and get the win.
A good race for you guys. A lot of people getting up into the fence, obviously, but we saw you running on the outside of the racetrack. Was that just, you assume that the inside, shorter way around, best place to be, but you guys really like it the outside of the racetrack, and you guys had some of the cleanest cars at the end of the night. Was that to just maybe prevent those cars from really sliding up in the center of the corner, trying to hang on to the tires so you had something left at the end?
Yeah, it seems like the shadow, it lasted a little bit longer up top, and plus there's a little bit less bumps. So you can save a little bit more tire than on the bottom, like especially in 1 and 2. If you entered on the bottom, it would get really bad on exit. So running the top would really help save the tires. But that's basically the line we always ran when we came here last season. That's what we did, and I think we dominated that race. So we just got the line figured out.
And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you guys both come home inside of the top 3. Exciting stuff still to come, though, tonight. Just under an hour now for part 2 and really the main event for our iSuperSpeedway doubleheader right here on LSRTV. Special throwback night. You got a teaser for us? Let us know what we're going to be in for.
A lot of close racing. The setup we got this week has a lot of suck up. It's a little bit loose on entry, tight on exit, so handling is going to be a big factor. Long endurance race. So, thinking we'll get a long green flag run, hopefully a couple of green flag pit stops in the race, and hopefully me and CP can come out on top again.
Well, I tell you what, they decided to keep the restrictor plates on these things for one more, and it worked well for you guys, both inside the top 3. Congrats on the podium, Seth. Good luck tonight, and hopefully we'll be talking with you after that one.
Thank you.
So that is tonight's third place finisher, Seth the Merchant, and again, Jason Altman's Chris Bassini round out your top 5. We took a look at the ISS full field rundown. That is why you can see the final finishing order once again. Scroll across the top of your screen. So that's that. It's Daytona 07. As fun as that is, though, Austin, it's time to get down to business. We're looking forward for what's still to come. And again, for those that tune in all the time at LSRTV, the Rod Car Truck Tour, it's good fun. The IROC stuff, it's good fun. But this is where the big checks are tossed out, where you get the hardware and what everybody's buying for. And we have another stepping stone towards an iSuperSpeedway Championship right next here on LSRTV for the Throwback 300. That's coming up just on the other side. Again, about 55 minutes away right here, LSRTV and iRacing Live. And I'm about set for that one.
Oh, I'm extremely ready for that. You know, we're going to have a lot more cars. We're going to have a lot more close racing, and I think we're going to have just plain out fun for sure. And hopefully we don't get very many big ones, but yeah, it's a Daytona race, so or it's a super speedway race really. So you know it's going to be coming, and you know hopefully our top runners today can make it the full length of the race and have a good shot at that end, because they were really fighting the car this time. I don't think they're going to have to fight so much. Have to fight so much in the next car that they drive.
And this year, the Throwback 300 is a WWE WWF based paint scheme, so you'll see a lot of cars out there sporting some different designs. We'll run you down through all of those paint schemes so you know who is in what car tonight and where your favorite drivers are going to be. That's going to be coming up next, though. Until then, another chapter in the ISS IROC Championship is into the books. And we look forward for the Throwback 300, which will be again right here next on LSRTV. So until we drop the green flag for that one, that does it for the time being here from Daytona International Speedway. I want to thank everybody on behalf of everybody at LSRTV and on behalf of the team tonight. For producer Cisco Scaramuza, for Austin Coop, my name is Evan Pizzoco, congratulating Christian Peterson on taking home the checkered flag at the World Center of Racing. 1 hour, LSRTV, the place to be. We'll see you for the iSuperSpeedway Throwback 300 coming up next.